I wished I'd have brought. I had a map of the county, and if I had brought that.
Couldn't get there to, make it, not Joe. No, it wouldn't be. So, anyway, they're supposed to go ahead and get it.
You through?
Yes, sir, I'm ready.
They're supposed
Oh.
to
We got it ready.
All right.
The supervisor said they
About where the old cabin was, you said?
Yeah.
Well, you go right out of Fredericksburg,
Doesn't mean it's going to rain up there if it rains.
and turn on Tyberdale Road.
Tylerdale?
Tyberdale.
Tyler.
I don't know what the number of it is. It's right on the edge of town. There's a convenience store where you turn there on the convenience store will be on the left. And you go until you get to a pump station. And if you're coming that way, you turn in to the left. And it used to be the old Alphonse Klein place, but I don't know who's got it now.
The cabin?
Well, where it was, it's away from the house. It's down in the edge of an old field down there next to the river.
Oh. What was the owner? Alphonse?
Huh?
Alphonse?
Alphonse
What's the last name?
Klein,
Klein?
K-L-I-E-N. He's the one that had it when I saw it, but it's changed hands, I know, twice.
And I've been
Is the cabin still there then?
wearing a
I don't know. People have been there
It's been
years
a
past.
long
so
time
nobody
since I've
knows
been
for
there.
sure.
Huh.
Guess it's a
That was when Alphonse Klein lived there.
big settlement. It'd be nice to just get a heck of it, make a try. And Gene Sesh, I guess, was there.
Gene might know something about it.
He might know something. I'll get in touch with him.
Kurt, his daddy told me he was going to go down there and paint that. I told him where it's at. So that's all.
Huh.
I'd love to locate it. If there's anything left, get some of these pictures.
Wow.
Yeah, I brought some
This
knives
is basically just lived there, did blacksmith,
like you know.
hot jobs, and whatever. To the end.
Huh. Now I'm ready. Yeah, you said you met Uncle Milton McDougall?
Okay, my dad's family, my mother and father moved to New York, and we would come back to Texas every summer, and usually live or spend time with my Uncle George and Bess McDougall. And I was a little boy. This is going way, way back, and I remember we'd always eat out in the yard. And one day, as a little boy, I was introduced to this very large man, huge, tall man. Of course, again, I was a little boy. And they did tell me that he was Milton McDougall, and he had played for the St. Louis Browns. I guess that's a defunct past, but it's a professional baseball team. I remember I shook hands with him, and I remember his huge head. Again, I'm a little boy. What a huge man he was. And I do remember them saying something about that he was a very kindly kind of person. He was as big as he was also just a very kind disposition and whatnot. That was the only time I met him, but I was impressed because of the baseball thing and how large the man was. He was.
Wow.
And that was in the backyard at my Uncle George McDougall's house in San Antonio.
About what year was that? Do you remember?
If I was small, we're going back around, must have been guessing in 50s.
Okay.
I was in high school. And I have some recollection of his early death. Yeah, heart problem or something like that.
Yeah.
That's about it. The only time I did meet him.
Yeah. Wow.
Are you okay? With our elaborate new technical system, we're moving into the 20th century here, or 21st century with our amplifier. Those of you who weren't here last year, the McDougall family bought this, and so we don't have to rent one every year. We'll get started by letting our Secretary, Doug Knox, read the meetings from last year's meeting.
How do I?
Whatever.
Someone for the.
Before I do begin, just to remind people, if you do have any announcements, births, deaths, etc., please give me a little card with all of the information on there, so I'll be sure not to let something not get into the notes. It helps a lot. I do appreciate that. Minutes of the 78th reunion, June 8, 2003. Kent greeted the family and said the reunion had gotten off to a shaky start that morning as he and Doug Knox found the hall locked and had to search for someone to open it. We still had to pay for it, didn't we? The secretary read the minutes. Family members who passed away during the year were remembered. Jesse King died May 20th, 2003. Francis Eugene Jimmy Zesch died October 8, 2002. Verdi Bell, Ellebracht, daughter of Benno McDougall, died May 23, 2003. Eugene Forpaul, son-in-law of Thelka McDougall, and Eugene's wife was Leona. He died May 21st, 2003. Stella Herster died November 7th, 2002. Stella was 95. Kent said Stella was a very gracious lady, perhaps may have never missed a reunion, and was the founder and continuing spirit behind the success of the reunion. Following Stella's obituary, Stella Herster. Stella Herster, 95, died in her sleep at her home in Llano in the early morning hours of November 7, 2002. Born August 5, 1907 on a ranch in the Mason County community of Grossville. Ella Estella Zesch was the fifth child of Eugene and Matilda McDougall Zesch. She was baptized in Mason on December 1st, 1907 at St. Paul Lutheran Church, which her grandfather, Robert Zesch, had helped found. She was confirmed in that church on September 26, 1921. Stella was the only girl in a family with 6 rowdy boys. At first, her older brothers were so disgusted to have a baby sister that they wanted to use her for wolf bait. Since there were no other girls near the ranch, Stella had to entertain herself, sometimes by sculpting clay swans and other figures in the creek bed. Her parents made her wait until she was 8 to start her education because they thought the boys at the Grossville school were too rough. She graduated from Mason High School in 1926, then attended the College of Industrial Arts, now Texas Women's College in Denton. On April 26, 1933, Stella married Dr. Henry J. Herster at St. Paul Lutheran Church in Mason. She moved to Llano, where Dr. Henry had started his practice the year before. Not long after they were married, Henry gave Stella a fine saddle horse, then entered her in Llano's first rodeo in which she competed in the barrel races. Stella became a faithful member of the Lutie Watkins Memorial United Methodist Church. Around 1938, Stella and Henry built their Spanish-style house at 1601 Wright Street, where Stella still lived at the time of her death. The Hersters' first child, James, was born July 1st, 1938, but died at birth. Their second son, Jay, was born September 21st, 1942. 3 months later, Stella and Jay moved to Abilene, where Henry was stationed at Camp Barkley. While Henry was later serving as U.S. Army doctor in the Philippines, Stella and Jay lived with her mother in Mason for 3 years until 1946. An accomplished painter, Stella helped organize Llano's first art group, the Llano Watercolor Society, and later served as president of the Llano Fine Arts Guild. She represented Llano on the state's first Texas Arts Alliance Board and was Llano's Fine Arts Chairman for the Heart of Texas District of the Texas Federated Women's Clubs. The Texas Fine Arts Commission recognized Stella for his assistance in the statewide resources survey during the Texas Centennial 1936. Stella was very active in the Women's Culture Club, serving 3 terms as president, 1936 to 37, 1950 to 51, 1965-67. She helped organize the Llano Garden Club and served 2 terms as its president. She
She was also president of the Library Board of Llano County, the Llano Ladies Golf Association, Llano Girl Scouts Board, the Burnett Lampasas Llano Medical Auxiliary, and St. James Lutheran Women's Society. She is a member of the St. Angelo's Board of Mental Health and Mental Retardation and a director of the Llano County Historical Society. She was inducted into the Llano Chamber of Commerce Hall of Fame in 1985. Stella hunted at her Mason County ranch every year until age 93. An excellent marksman even in her last years, she fired only one shot each season and brought home one buck. Stella loved to entertain her families and friends, and she was a gracious and thoughtful host. She helped institute the annual McDougall Family Reunion in Fredericksburg in 1925 and attended each one until last year. Many times she brought her extended family together at holidays. Stella summed up her feelings about Christmas traditions in the Zesch family when she wrote, "Best of all, there is still the family tie, the love, the joy, the hope, and that sheer magic which is Christmas." An elegant and cheerful person, she brought much happiness to those she met. Everyone who knew her described her simply as a great lady. Her life spanned the horse and buggy era through the internet age. When Stella saw the film Titanic at the Lantex Theater in 1997, she was probably the only person in the audience who could remember that ship sinking in 1912. Stella was preceded in death by Henry on October 17, 1988, and Jay on November 3, 1993, as well as by all six brothers, Kurt, Roy, Arno, Milton, Walter, also Poodle, and Jimmy. She is survived by a host of living nieces and nephews, and for them, Llano will never be the same without their Aunt Stella. Funeral services were held at Llano 2 p.m. November 9, 2002, at the Ludi Watkins Memorial United Methodist Church, with Reverend and David Griffin officiating and Larry LeFeist serving as organist. Soloist Lucinda Zesch sang, "So nimm den meine Hände," "Oh, take my hand." Pallbearers were David Herster, Jerry Herster, Jimmy Herster, Casey Zesch, Gary Zesch, Scott Zesch. Burial followed at the Llano City Cemetery under the direction of Waldrop Hatfield Hawthorne Funeral Homes. A moment of silence was observed for those that had passed. Kent's sister June mentioned that she was a godchild of Stella's. Kent took up a collection. He commented that the dues for Turner Hall are presently $250. Ken asked the secretary what the balance was in our family funds. It was $944, but $250 were going to be deposited that day or given for hall rental, bringing it down the total to $694. Kent again thanked Wanda Bublick for the contribution her book had made to the family fund. Wanda Bublick of John's family announced the birth of a granddaughter, Emma Juliet, on April 12, 2003, born in Utah. Her grandparents are Rick and Wanda Bublick. Her great-grandmother, Lorraine McDougall, was present at the reunion. For Emma's extended family, Tyler Roy Schmidt, born August 14, 2002, to Jeffrey and T.J. Schmidt. Tyler is the great-grandson of Herbert and Elvie Zesch Donop. J.B. Schmidt and Christina Kingsland married March 2002. J.B. is the son of T.N.T. Schmidt, grandson of Herb and Elvie Zesch Donop, Zelvie Zesch Donop. Leslie Dawn Donop Mays received a master's in physical therapy. Her husband, Michael Mays, received a master's in finance. Both are graduates of A&M. Leslie Dawn is the daughter of Larry and Jan Donop. She's the granddaughter of Herb and Elvie Zesch Donop. Michelle and Mac Richenow had a son, Caleb Scott, born March 14, 2003. The boy was 10 pounds, 2 ounces. The father is in the Navy and stationed at Newport, Rhode Island. Colin James Durst was born March 30th, 2003. Colin is the son of Claudia and Russell Durst. Colin weighed 8 pounds. Jeffrey McDougall received his PhD from A&M. Missy Zesch, wife of Brandon Zesch, received her master's degree in education on August 9, 2002 at San Angelo State in San Angelo, Texas. On August 14, 2002, Misty and Brandon Zesch became parents of a girl named Avery Emily Zesch, weight 8 pounds 6 ounces, length 19.5 inches, time 1:40 p.m. Head measured 14 inches. Hair brown, very detailed. She was born at Shannon Hospital, San Angelo, Texas. Brandon is the son of Bobby and Sherry Zesch, grandson of Arcee and Mildred Zesch. Avery Emily Zesch is the granddaughter of Bobby and Sherry Zesch, and great-granddaughter of Arcee and Mildred Zesch. New people at the reunion: Kurt Ewald and his sister Chris came from, Kurt Ewald came from Houston. Chris was from Sweeney, Texas. He said he became interested in family history a few years ago when he looked at some old family photos and began wondering who they were. Kurt started doing research on the internet and made contact with Doug Knox. Kurt was born in Dilley, Texas, and is of the Alonzo family. Kent asked, as was Stella's custom, Kent asked who the oldest lady present was. She was Hazel Lorraine McDougall, 84. She received a corsage. Hazel is the wife of Herbert McDougall, and she is Wanda McBubblick's mother. The person who traveled the farthest was Kimberly Bubblick, wife of Rick Bubblick Jr., and she traveled from Cleveland, Ohio. Stella would usually award $20 for this person who traveled the farthest, but Kent did not continue that part of the tradition. The youngest children present were of Chris Hall's family. That would be Kurt's sister. I don't think they got any present either. No, that's out. Okay. Wanda Bubblick reported on the family book. So far, 149 had been sold, and this is the second printing. Wanda again gave credit to John Young of Toronto, Canada, for his kindness in sharing early McDougall history. Wanda reported on an article sent to her by John Young on the family homestead of John J. McDougall. The following article ties in very well with the information about the homestead in Wanda's wonderful book. The article reads, sit down. This is from an email article that was sent from Canada to Wanda and myself. It's about an old house on Yonge Street. Bill Siegel had just completed the renovation of his 1828 farmhouse, the result after 17 years' work as part museum, part modern mansion. Toronto. Bill Siegel knew he wanted an old farmhouse he could renovate, but he has no idea he'd bought a historic treasure trove until he began pulling the ivy off his new home. Underneath, he found a pattern of brick and woodwork dating back to 1828. It told the story of a Loyalist farmhouse, which gradually transformed into a Victorian mansion. Today, 200 years after the British Crown granted the property to a Scottish Loyalist called John McDougall, the residence is surrounded by the hum of Yonge Street, between Ellington and Lawrence Avenues, and is believed to be the oldest private home in Toronto. The 2.5-story red brick house sits at the end of a circular loose stone driveway off Duplex Avenue, sunken into the remains of an extra-large, beautifully landscaped lot. A massive pine tree stands out front, the last of a long laneway of pines that once led out to the original entrance on Yonge Street. Mr. Siegel, an advertising and branding consultant with a doctorate in psychology, bought the home in 1779. About 7 years after buying the house, Mr. Siegel began a renovation campaign to restore some of the heritage home's historic features and modernize its amenities. The project included dismantling a triplex conversion done in 1953. After countless dollars and frustrations, he has only recently completed the restoration. The result is a home that is part museum and part mansion. The windows are original, complete with blemishes and drafts. The 12-pane windows in the master bedroom at the back date from around 1828. The front larger 2-pane windows date from Victorian times when glass-making technology had improved. In the basement, there's a hand-hewn support beam with clear axe marks from the days preceding the pit saw. The late restoration artist Anthony Adamson concluded that the beam was part of the original log home built on the site in 1804. For a while, the cabin served as a tavern for patrons traveling up Yonge Street. Today, the spirit of fine drinking is kept alive by Mr. Siegel's wife, Margaret Swain, a food and wine columnist who has a state-of-the-art cellar in the basement holding some 2,000 bottles of wine. Beneath the ancient basement beams, and beside the 3-foot thick original walls, Mr. Siegel had installed a slate and stone floor with radiant heat. Two shades and styles of red brick indicate where builders raised the hip roof of the Regency Cottage to create a 2.5-story house in 1865. Mr. Siegel has left the changing brick face show indoors, leaving it exposed and unaltered in the kitchen and upstairs master bedroom. With the help of Mr. Adamson and plenty of his own research, Mr. Siegel has traced the origins of the property to the late 1700s when a group of Queens Rangers drew consecutively numbered lots up Yonge Street north of what is today Eglinton. The property he owns began on a 210-acre lot that spread westward from Yonge over to what is now Bathurst Street. Property of Mr. McDougall, had quickly sold to Martin Snyder, a loyalist soldier who had been captured by the Americans in 1777 and ordered hanged for treason. Mr. Snyder escaped with a pardon from the governor of Massachusetts and later settled in the town of York. It was Mr. Snyder's son William who around 1828 replaced the 1804 log cabin with what formed the basis of the house that exists today. He built a 1.5-story brick cottage in the Regency style as the family grew more prosperous. He expanded the home and updated it with new Victorian style. Well, basically that's the story. It's a man with enough money and enough insight to realize what a treasure he had, and you have part of the original, the oldest home, ancestor and tavern in Toronto, Canada. Hope somebody can visit it one day. Wanda also reported that the metal grave markers had been donated to the Fredericksburg Historical Society. The grave markers were for Alexander McDougall and Johanna Raha and originally mounted on a fence. Presently there are granite markers for Alexander and Johanna in the Friedhof Cemetery. There also followed a discussion of the Morris Ranch settlement where Alex and Johanna lived. The town is Tibbydale, or perhaps the road, and the log cabin of Alex and Johanna was there decades ago. It would be a good project to see if this homestead still exists. I believe Potts reported this information. Family count: William 8, John 12, Alonzo 5, Tom 5, Henry 3, Emma 2, for a total of 35 people last year. Wanda Bublik said she would pursue the establishment of a McDougall webpage on the internet.
Okay, any addition to the minutes? Anybody want to add anything, correct anything? And then stand approved as read. We'd like to know about anyone who has died during the past year. I know of a couple. I believe Bess McDougall, San Antonio. Is that Alonzo's family? Yes. Alonzo's family, who was once married to George McDougall in San Antonio, died this past year. I believe she says she died in September.
Yes, I do have an obituary here. That she was age 97, passed away on Monday, September 29, 2003.
She, I guess, was the oldest family member for a long time, and she was passed away. Yes, sir.
My sister, Joyce Janine McDougall Lewis, passed away in New Bern, North Carolina, November the 5th, 2003.
Okay. What was her name again?
Joyce Janine McDougall Lewis.
Joyce Janine McDougall Lewis. Okay, thank
Do you
you.
have it written down? Would you write it down? Okay, you can give it to me.
Yeah, they'll get that down. Okay, thank you.
Her daughter is, and son-in-law are attending today for the first time.
Oh,
They
okay.
live in Elgin, Texas. Vicki Lehmeyer and Thomas Lehmeyer.
Oh, great. Elgin, you live in Elgin, Texas, where the hot barbecue, hot sausage, famous hot sausage there. Is that still there?
Same Elgin.
Yeah. Well, welcome. Glad to see you here. First time ever to the McDougall Reunion? Yeah, great. Any other? Olivia Zish, she died this past year. Was married to Milton. That's from Matilda's family. When did your mother die, Ronnie?
February 17th.
February 17th. Josephine?
I had a cousin that died. I gave the information to Doug a while ago. It was Leola McDougall Lanham. And she was the daughter of Benno, who was the son of William. And I gave him, I've already forgotten exactly what date that was, but she died in
September 19, 2003.
Okay. Thank you, Josephine. Anybody else who would like to include some losses into our family records? Doug?
I was just speaking with Wanda. I had gotten an email recently from one of our Canadian relatives, and the person that had contributed so much